Well, hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Wild Your Garden. And in this video, are you in for a treat? Because I'm going to be taking you on a private tour of this 1 acre beautiful wildlife garden here in Hertfordshire in the best time of the year. It's the first 2 weeks in May, my favourite time of year every single year. It's just gorgeous. The birds are singing. The swifts have just turned up this morning. We've had 2 of those flying over this garden, the first I've seen this year. And the sun is shining, so stick around because we are going to be exploring features such as this beautiful wildflower meadow, no-mow summer area with these gorgeous and very inviting mown paths right through the middle of them. We're going to be looking at some herbaceous borders as well, which are absolutely just alive with flowers and insects at the moment. We're then going to be moving into some slightly wilder parts of the garden. We're going to be looking at a mini orchard and then into the woodland garden after that, which I can't wait to show you. It's looking divine at the moment, so stick around and let's go and have a little explore of this beautiful wildlife garden. Right, let's get straight into it. So here we are at the very front of the house. It's a beautiful several 100-year-old house, which is absolutely gorgeous and very typical of this part of England at the time. And in this border we have, to begin with, things such as these Himalayan poppies, which are beautiful at the moment. They are this lovely vivid yellow colour. And moving on from that, I love the fact that these clients, and hats off to them, they really have done wildlife gardening proud over the last few years, because the way they manage this space, this 1 acre garden, is all for the benefit of wildlife now. So they are really going all out to do everything they can, including leaving things like this dandelion. These aren't the dandelion flowers, obviously. You can see the old dandelion heads there, but they're leaving things like that on the edge of the drive. They're leaving things like this forget-me-not, which is home to a little ladybird at the moment. You can see that. And yeah, they're just kind of scattering. This is how I love to see the edges of drives, with a few plants creeping in. It's a very natural, nice look, if you ask me. So yes, I've got some Mexican daisies as well at the back there, which are looking beautiful, and some campanula along that door that's not used. I love that. That's absolutely gorgeous at the moment. Before we go on, I should just show you this lovely magnolia tree, which is just divine. Slightly outgrown its its original home in that little raised planter, but I don't think you're going to move that now. That noise in the background, by the way, excuse the digger, some pond works are underway at the moment. It's coming from a little swift apex box up there, where the clients are playing some speakers, playing through some speakers, the calls of some swifts to try and attract them. And this morning I've just seen my first 2 swifts of the year, so yes, very pleased to see those. Hopefully they might take up residence. Obviously, for any box requirements, then do check out the wildyourgarden.com online shop. We've got lots and lots for you to choose from. Bird boxes, that is, not just cardboard boxes. Right, here we go. So let's move on to another one of my favourite plants that is just kind of everywhere in the south of the country. Does very well down here. It's purple toadflax, and it's not quite in flower yet. It has this lovely kind of discreet little purpley flower when it does come in flower. And if you're in the south, particularly the southeast of England, you can expect to nowadays attract the toadflax brocade moth, which has naturally migrated to the southeast of England and is doing quite well. I get it in my own front garden. Here you can see a bit more. It's just absolutely beautiful, this plant. It's just wanting to almost flower now. You can see that. Really lovely plant. Spreads very well, does very well in sort of arid conditions and amongst block paving, gravel driveways, does very well. These alliums are now coming into flower. Alliums, if you don't know, absolute bee magnet. That's just needing a bee on it right now. It looks fabulous. So yes, the alliums are just coming out, which looks really nice. I'm going to very carefully tread across this border to show you one of the stars of the show at the moment, this lovely deep blue purple iris. Look at that for a flower. Iris is obviously quite commonly associated with wildlife ponds. The yellow flag iris is the native here in the UK, but there are many varieties of iris, and I'm trying to step back out of the border. So yes, there's a nice clump of those. Can't wait to see these coming out in the next few days. We've got a bit of sedum in the middle there. The ice plant, it's also known as. This gorgeous euphorbia, which is in flower at the moment. I'm just sort of going over actually, but that's a really lovely, this sort of reminds me of an armadillo. This it's just like scales. It's really quite a nice plant. They've got, obviously gone over now, but some muscari that was in here. Grape hyacinth, you may know it as. Very good for bees. Does spread very well, so be warned. And then down here we've got a bit of thyme. Yep, that is definitely thyme. And a couple of nice bay trees framing that door there. Very nice. Moving round, I should show you. See that purple toadflax just makes that border at the moment, and it's not even in flower yet, so really nice to see. Oh, and what looks like a gladioli flowering. That's a lovely pink flower on that. That's the first one I've seen this year. Really nice. Some salvias coming up there, and a hebe. But this is just stunning. If you like your acers, which I do, they are absolutely gorgeous. They prefer a bit of semi-shade usually. Obviously used a lot in Japanese style gardens, but this one is some age. Let's take a peek inside, shall we? See if we can see the trunk. That's lovely soft foliage. See if I can get through for you. Wow, look at that. That's incredible. A couple of props there on the main stem, but that's some age. I would say that's probably a good maybe 150, 200 years old. So very nice to see. Huge acer. Right, let's move around this way. Very interesting feature here. That is a rather deep well, which has these lovely ferns just underneath them. Underneath the surface, this lovely glass top. Really nice feature that is. And if you look here, that is how old the well is. So very old. 500+ year old well. Not too bad. Nice little sort of courtyard area here. Some more Himalayan poppies, lots of lavender yet to flower. This area will no doubt come into its own in a few weeks, so we won't linger because I've got a lot to show you. Now, first glimpse of the back garden, and it goes right the way back there, so stick around because I promise you what is back there is worth the wait. So instantly you're hit with formality yet wildlife friendly, with these deliberate mown edges, which absolutely makes this area look purposeful, makes it look kempt, makes it look intentional. And what about that for a bit of a backlit section of dandelion seed heads. Great to see dandelions in a lawn. Now I've got two options here. I can go left up that way, or I can go right. In fact, I'm going to go right, and then I'm going to come back and go left because someone's decided to dig a big hole in the middle, which I'll explain a little bit more on shortly. Here's the back of the acer. Got some foxgloves popping up. They're going to be flowering in the next few weeks. Foxgloves I typically associate with June. We're now second week in May. Just ducking under an apple tree. Excuse the boards, that's the access we've been using to get the digger in and out. Got the liner for the pond turning up this morning. So here we have a nice shady border, so some plants for shade. If you're after any tips, those of you with your notepads at the ready. Yeah, we've got a few heucheras which are doing quite well. They're just starting to flower. Not a native, but some insects do visit them. Bit of dogwood there that's been cut back. Dogwood very good for shade. Underneath and causing the shade, these beautiful 3 silver birch. These are the Betula utilis, used a lot in sort of ornamental planting schemes these days. Not native to the UK, slightly bigger leaf. I try to normally use the Betula pendula, the native silver birch, but they are just gorgeous. You can see why people choose them. That stunning white bark. What do we have here? Good old favourite of mine, Gladden is what I was trying to say, stinking iris. A really good one for shade. More sedums and the forget-me-nots. Note the forget-me-nots, we'll be coming on to one of the best displays of those I've seen this year very shortly. We've got a bit of a peony there, some geraniums at the front, pulmonaria, lungwort, another really good one for bees. Very distinctive sort of spotted leaf. Again, this isn't a full comprehensive plant tour, so if you are looking through expecting me to name every plant, then sorry to disappoint. But obviously I've got a lot to get through whilst trying to create this pond. I got here early this morning to try and bring you this early morning video because I just wanted to do this garden some justice and show you a really good way of having a mosaic of habitats. MOW, mosaic. This, by the way, is not them just, or the client's just randomly digging out bluebells for a display and forgotten about them. These are Spanish bluebells, so they are actively trying to remove a few of those from the garden because they're encouraging the more native bluebells, so fair play for that. And this is gorgeous. Hang on. That's definitely a lilac, but I've never seen one with this. Well, I'm pretty sure it's a lilac. It's definitely a lilac looking flower. Never seen one with a small rounded leaf like that. It's almost like a pittosporum leaf. Anyway, moving on from that, we have some hartstongue ferns. Ferns, we do have a selection of those on the online shop if you are interested, along with many other plants as well. We've got an apple tree here, which is casting a bit more shade in this corner. These forget-me-nots again looking divine at the moment. Interesting tip about the forget-me-nots. At the end of them, you'll see the centres are either white or yellow. Now, I always forget every year which way round it is, but apparently when they turn from white to yellow or yellow to white, insert comments here, it means that the flowers have been pollinated. So you can see, for example, here, some white, some yellow, which I only learnt a couple of years ago. And moving round, I'll try and show you this area as well. Look at this deliberate mown path, shows access in amongst a no-mow summer area, which we'll have another look at when we get over that side of the garden, over this nice orange feature. That's my fault. It's a lovely sort of dappled shade back here. Really nice. Look, this looks like coreopsis, I believe. A sort of yellowy flower when that comes out. Foxglove's just randomly popping up there. Lovely to see. And here, look at this. This is Dicentra, bleeding hearts, and you can see why. I'll show you the flowers on those. Quite stunning. I'm not going to enter into here with my feet because I don't want to squash any of the planting. There's a lovely grey-blue hosta there. Obviously not enough slugs and snails in this garden. That wouldn't look like that in my garden, that's for sure. And backed by a nice old hedge, which at the moment, this section at least, is full of holly. Nice to see. Holly not used enough in a hedgerow in my opinion. Oh, and then we have this gorgeous Judas tree, which I will try and show you the flowers of, which are just coming out. Just about some of the end ones. Hang on, I'll get you another branch if I can reach. So, hang on, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. You can see those flowers just starting to open up now. A really lovely tree indeed. Lots of wild your garden pond plants ready to go in said pond, we'll have a look at in a moment. And look at that for a block of colour. Forget-me-nots, obviously an annual. I did do a short on these recently, so you may have seen that. For those of you that flick through the shorts, I know many of you don't like the shorts because they're too short. But I think it's a good way of hopefully getting to a new type of fan base, if you like. I hate the word fan base. It doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. Reaching new people, reaching new audiences, shall we say. Hopefully a lot of the younger generation will flick through shorts and see some of the Wild Your Garden ones I've been posting, and maybe we can convert a few younger minds, the next generation of wildlife gardeners. So that's the intention there with doing the shorts. I don't think they're a great way of getting a load of information across, but it's a nice little bit of drip feeding some information in time. Now, someone's unfortunately left a big pile of earth here. This is a work in progress. This is going to be a wildflower meadow, believe me when I tell you, and a big wildlife pond. That's about 14 by 8 meters. Cracking, that is. Really good size. If you're looking for any pond lining materials at all, guys, then wildyourgarden.com. We can supply you with the fleece, the liner, boulders, subsoil, plants, you name it. And if you buy from us, obviously, I'll happily give you recommendations on plant quantities and species. And those are some of the size rolls you can get from us, 30 by 2 meter. If you're looking for your fleece, the liner is coming this morning, so looking forward to lining that. And look at these two ginormous, I have to stand back a bit, U-balls, which are several hundred years old because they do not grow quickly. More likely to be seen in more of a parkland or estate of a country house. They are quite something, they are very old indeed. Yes, and these, all right, I'll show you quickly the quality of the Wild Your Garden plants if you're looking to buy from us. Look at that. That came out of a box yesterday, and that's common fleabane. I'm not going to name them all, but we've got lots of things like this St. John's wort as well, which everything is still early days really, but things like this Devil's Bit scabious as well. Top quality plants. And I should say to everybody out there at this point who has been supporting the channel for the last 4 years. Last video I posted, we've reached 70,000 subscribers, so incredible. We're now at just over 71,000, so it's really rocketing at the moment, and it wouldn't be where it is today without all the support and help from yourselves. So I'm very, very grateful to each and every one of you that has supported me over the last 4 years. Those of you that have been there from the start, hats off to you. Thank you for enjoying my dulcet tones for the last 4 years. And to any new subscribers of the channel, equally, thank you very much for joining us. It's a wonderful community on here. There are thousands of you now, literally tens of thousands of you that tune in, and I can't believe we are where we are. It means the world to me, and obviously the ethos behind the channel is to reach as many people as we can worldwide to encourage them to create habitats for wildlife. So a massive, massive thank you. I really can't express my gratitude enough, apart from keep bringing you these videos and putting the time into editing them and filming them. There goes a magpie with some nesting material. And yes, I really am very grateful. So to all of you out there, thank you so much. And equally for supporting the online shop. We are a small family run business. We don't turn over millions of pounds. We don't ship our plants in from all around the world. And I really do appreciate every single sale that we make. So thank you. And it's obviously helping create more habitats. So that's why I put the effort into explaining to everybody that inquires what plants to put around their pond, you know, and it's the whole reason the shop was started 3 years ago now, to help you all create habitats for wildlife. So I hope that it's helping and encouraging you, along with the book and this channel. A nice little three-way triangle of information for you all out there, because equally I appreciate there's many landscapers now getting on board this trend, which I hope continues to grow, I hope continues to stick, and I hope many people continue to change their career. I think recently some people have emailed, well, I don't think, I know some people have recently emailed in and said they've changed career because of the videos, because of the book, because of the encouragement that I've been giving people for a long time now. 20 years I've been doing this, and I really do think it's one of the best accolades I could leave, if you like, in the fullness of time, is to encourage other people to go into this line of work and create more habitats for wildlife. So well done to all of you for making the leap, whether you're making a pond, whether you're just making a planted pot for pollinators like this, which I will be doing some of soon and showing you how, or you are jumping ship, making a career of it, changing from whatever career you've had before. I'm very grateful. So thank you to you all, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. So from here you can see this wonderful no-mow summer area. If you're new to the channel and you're wondering what a no-mow summer is, then check out some of the previous videos, and one in particular I did on no-mow May concept. If you're wondering about taking on a no-mow May this year, the pros and cons with it, and obviously why I think we should all be adopting a no-mow summer. Case in point, look at this. I mean, I know we're still in May technically, but why would you ever want to cut that down before it's finished flowering? And it's a long way off finishing flowering yet, because we've got beautiful things at the moment like these buttercups. Buttercups really are a quintessential part of a meadow. They really are. I mean, look at that. Is there a more vivid yellow than that there? I think not. So these are nicely popping up, and so many of these plants you'll probably have in your lawn already. These haven't been planted. The dandelions haven't been planted. The knapweed, to my knowledge, haven't been planted. So this is just an area that the clients have left to grow, and in the middle of it, somewhere over this way, here we are, we have some hedge bedstraw, which is another really good plant, larval food plant for the hummingbird hawk moth, so an essential plant. And longer grasses, I just love longer grasses. If you haven't got the hint already from the tons of videos I've made, this is a beautiful grass called Yorkshire fog, which is a larval food plant for things such as our skipper butterflies. Great little habitat that is. And this is the knapweed, lesser knapweed, black knapweed, again available online on the online shop, but a really good midsummer plant for butterflies. And here you can see more knapweed, these big clumps. That's going to be an invaluable source of nectar for many species. Dandelions still going strong. Some have gone into the classic dandelion clocks now, but a lot of them still going. Clump of buttercups there. So let's have a little look now at one of the herbaceous borders in this garden. It's being visited by what looks like a red-tailed bumblebee. Yep. Go on, land in one of the poppies. I dare you. Yes, look at that. Brilliant. They must have a sixth sense when there's a camera on them. That's a red-tailed bumblebee for obvious reasons. Enjoying these Himalayan poppies. So what else have we got in here? One of my classics, one of my favourites for putting in a herbaceous border. Nepeta Six Hills Giant. Look at these little flowers. So many insects visit this plant. Herbaceous perennials, I can exclusively now reveal we are working on, guys. So if you're in the UK, you're looking for herbaceous perennials, keep an eye on the online shop, because we're working on it. I assure you, they are coming soon. I'm working with some very specialist growers who are growing these specifically for us, so I'm really looking forward to bringing you these. So stay tuned to the online shop. This classic plant, if I can get it to focus properly, is Verbena bonariensis. Now, for those of you that have been viewing the channel for a while will know Verbena bonariensis, my favourite non-native herbaceous perennial. I have done a whole video on it. Oh, bee number 2, sorry. Slight interruption, that's a common carder bee. It's a very gingery orange appearance. Us gingers have to stick together in this world, you know. This is absolutely gorgeous, that thing. And it's on and using this geranium, which looks very, very similar to meadow cranesbill, which is the native geranium. Only the meadow cranesbill is slightly bluer in colour, but very, very similar. And you can see, loved by the bees. So we've got the Verbena bonariensis, loads of that coming up everywhere. These are the old stems from last year, which equally, if left, are a great source of seed for birds such as our goldfinches. I realise there's a lot of you viewers from the States as well, so I'm trying to accommodate you guys. I want everybody to feel included within this. I don't want it to just be a bit Englishist or UK biased. I just want it to be something for everybody, which I know Verbena is a very good plant for our insects. You can see it's coming up nicely there. That'll be flowering June onwards. June till November that will flower. So one of the best in terms of a nectar source. Got some marjoram over there. Got what looks like a little bit of a rock rose type plant there. Got a curry plant in the corner for a bit of spice. These lamb's ears, stachys, which is just, funnily enough, like a lamb's ear, if you can hear that. It's so soft. It's like velvet. And this, believe it or not, hole is a natural sinkhole where there is a well underneath. You can actually see some of the bricks from the old well. So the clients have asked me to dig that out. I'm a little bit dubious because I think once you start digging a big hole like that, I don't quite know how big it's going to get. Then they have planted in recent years some of these standard hollies along the edge of this hedge, which are really nice. They're flowering now and going to berry. You see the flowers coming on those. Yes, and this no-mow summer area, I mean, how inviting is that? They don't have to be huge. I mean, this one's probably only 8 metres by 5 metres, so about 40 square metres. It's not huge, but it's a nice little patch of wildflowers. Still got some formal areas, still got some mown areas. Obviously we've got more banking around the back that we'll look at in a moment. There's going to be even more wildflowers when I've finished with it. Here we've got some red campion along the hedge. This is a south facing hedge, so perfect for butterflies. Butterflies, I'm hoping to bring you a few today. It's quite warm already. It's still fairly early, but the sun is getting up. And I have just seen an orange tip before I started filming, typically. An early riser for the day. So we've got things like marjoram in here. More marjoram. Red campion, classic for some shady spot. Got some forget-me-nots down there. More of this purple toadflax. It's going to be flowering soon. And this border here, I mean, just look at that. Packed. That's how you want a herbaceous border to look, is it not? Beautiful. And one of my favourites, garlic mustard. If you haven't seen already, a video I did specifically on this plant recently and why it's a valuable plant. I know for those of you watching from the States it's classed as invasive, and other plants sometimes struggle to establish once it's been in an area. It is of course biennial, but anyway, go watch the full plant video on that plant and why it's essential in my eyes, because it's the larval food plant of my favourite butterfly, the orange tip. More stachys, lamb's ears here, gorgeous. And at the back there we've got some taller shrubs, some rosemary. Oh, and I wish I could have been here to see these in a few weeks. Those are Echinops globe flowers. Fantastic bee plant. But an also equally good bee plant is this common thyme, which is quite discreet, but a really nice sort of, looks a bit like a heathery shrub, but just brilliant. These flowers are very, very good for bees. More Nepeta as well. Slightly envious of this garden. One day. And look at that. This is actually the spot where I filmed my forget-me-not short the other day, as you can see probably why. A beautiful Sambucus nigra here. There's elder, but the sort of purple variety. That's going to be flowering soon. Flowers a little bit later in general than our native elder, which are out at the moment. And you can see that border now just packed. And with that mown edge around that meadow, doesn't that look a treat? And what a beautiful house to boot. So yeah, nice little garden shed. Very quaint that, isn't it? And lots of this rose campion, which has a white flower, so similar to our red campion. Nice velvety leaf again. You can see a lovely carpet of that through there. More lamb's ear at the back. So I think repetition in a border is nice. I strongly recommend it. It just looks lovely when you've got lots of similar plants. Here's a new mown pathway through this little triangle. I love this. These clients are just trying to make the most of every single square inch of space, very selflessly leaving whatever grass they don't need to have as a mown path for access. And this is a mown path that I did create the other day because I wanted to frame the edge of this bank, which is a lot of the soil that was dug out from the new wildlife pond, which, as you can see, it's a bit of a beast. So looking forward to getting that lined later on today. Now I'm going to take you around this way, and then we're going to have a wander through some of these gorgeous pottages, these little yew-lined beds in a moment, but more of the classic garlic mustard. I'm determined to bring you guys an orange tip today, an orange tip egg. It'd be nice to bring you both, actually, the egg and the male butterfly. I've seen lots the other day. There was about 10 I saw in a single day, but I'm not going to look through every plant because I've got a lot to show you yet. Cow parsley, bear that in mind, we'll be coming on to that shortly, but this gorgeous little woodland edge, south facing again, south facing hedgerow, couldn't be better for insects, butterflies, nice and warm, lots of potential for pollinator plants. And this hedge was actually laid this autumn and winter, just gone, very expertly by the looks of it. A really nice tradition to get a hedge looking really nice and dense and green and lush and providing lots more nesting potential, more so than an open sparse hedge as they get older. So that's a really nice job on that. Gorgeous ash tree up here, by the way, which is a very old ash tree. And then we have this formal area, which, wow, who wouldn't want that in their garden? So there's all sorts in here, and this isn't looking its best yet because it's still early days. I think today is, haven't actually checked, I think the 10th of May. So it's still early. I bet end of June this looks incredible. We've got lots of stuff in here. We've got some more irises, and these mini yew hedges I think are just stunning. Normally people would edge something like this with box, but yeah, I'm a big fan of this yew. And now in here we've got lots of these dark coloured tulips. Look at the colour of that, and that's just sensational. And I've got like a little flower in the centre, obviously, and then this sea of darker stemmed, I'll show you around here. It's quite a nice mix actually. So you've got cow parsley, standard lovely cow parsley in the border, which is loved by hoverflies and many different insects, flies as well. Look at that woodland edge with just a mown path down this side for access. Again, so intentional, so beautiful. And then you've got this darker stemmed variety, which is quite nice. I've seen this used a bit at Chelsea, the RHS Chelsea Flower Show over the years. Dark stemmed cow parsley, it's very, very nice. A nice subtle, and we've got one of the natives that's cropped in the middle, wants to gate crash the party. Some of these Camasias are about to come out. I think these are a white one. Camasias, lovers of damp ground, and Some red valerian there. Red valerian, obviously, as I'm sure many of you know, very good nectar plant for a lot of insects, a lot of butterflies. Hummingbird hawk moth in particular absolutely loves this plant. So there are lots of borders in here, again of which I'll show you a bit of, but they're not at their full potential just yet. I've got things like this salad bonnet, which in my garden is now flowering. This is probably not because it's in semi-shade still. This won't get sun until later on in the afternoon. That is west, so this will all get sun as we move through the day. But at the moment, there's a fair bit of shade from this beautiful big beech tree. So lots of borders through here which have a variety of plants in them. This lovely centaurea, this sort of perennial cornflower, if you like. It's just beautiful. Look at the colour of that. Very nice. I'm going to head to this corner and then give you a bit of an overview of this area. Minding for the lawn edging shears. Isn't that gorgeous? That lovely big ash tree on the far side. Nice holly there as well. And I didn't mention, I should have done, a week or so back, that entire tree is an apple tree, one of the old apple trees. Hertfordshire known for its orchards from many a year ago, of which I'm going to show you a very impressive tree shortly. And that next to it is a hawthorn in flower, which I can there's a very distinctive smell coming from that at the moment, so really nice. But the apple tree there is just wow. I mean, that's huge. That's got to be 35 feet tall, so a very big apple. So again, if I just come back, I'm going to apologise to the owners now if I miss anything. I'm obviously trying to cover everything that's gone on with this garden. I will put a before picture in as well that they emailed me of the garden in the 1980s, when this was just mown lawn, and look at it now, a complete mix, a mosaic of habitats, pun intended. Look at all these are all primroses that have gone over now. A lovely little area through here. Cow parsley, don't worry, the cow parsley is going to come into its own very shortly. So this is kind of the start of the woodland walk, in a way. Looking back at those borders, very, very nice. Let's carry on through this way. Very inviting. I should say as well, the owners are particularly keen on having brash piles everywhere, which is brilliant. Brash is obviously just cut up branches, twigs, logs. Great for hedgehogs, great for hibernating, everything, absolutely everything. Newts, lizards, frogs, toads, brash piles, log piles. You can never have too many in a garden. I'll repeat that, you can never have too many in a garden. So there are lots of those you'll see about, dotted about. Lots of these cherry trees as well. This looks like it was an existing cherry tree. No, it's not. This one's come from over there. This was planted along with many of the trees in this area, apart from that holly, that beautiful big holly up there. So this cherry tree is one of 3 in this area which were planted. Very distinctive cherry leaf. And before the sun puts glare on the camera, I'm going to pan this way to show you all of that back there is a patch of nettles, and they leave that specifically for the butterflies. For example, the peacock, the red admiral, the small tortoiseshell and the comma, all butterflies in the UK that use nettles to lay their eggs on. So vital to have some nettles in a sunny patch, even if you can just put some in a pot. I might even do a very controversial video of me putting some nettles in a pot at some point. It does work, I can assure you. Put it in a sunny spot and you'll no doubt get caterpillars on it. There we go, case in point. It's going to move, no doubt, but there was a hoverfly just on this cow parsley. So yes, there's lots actually. The insects waking up now, sun's getting a bit stronger, and now we start to head into the really good stuff. Really good fun stuff this is. Actually I'm going to take a walk back. Keep that in mind, I'll come back to that in a second. There's a lovely view back at the house, look, and where the pond's going to nestle nicely into the landscape on the other side of those banks. Sorry for the DIYers next door. Hopefully this mic's cancelling out a bit of the sound. But you can see lots of sedums and lots of red valerian in this bed, and some more camasias just coming into flower. I'll show you this one. Beautiful flower. Really nice. And again, more wilderness just left over there. Another cherry tree that was planted many years ago, but look at it now. I bet they're glad they did. Really lovely. And look at this, mown pathways. Spoilt for choice. Right, oh, while I'm here, I'm going to show you this hawthorn because that's just exquisite. Hawthorns, I know I've said it before, but really do create a lovely tree if left alone. So let's take a walk. That was a speckled wood. Oh, there we go. Speckled wood butterfly, first one of the day. Lovers of dappled shade will lay on a variety of grasses, no doubt here because there's an abundance of nectar source for them. Lots of grasses for them to lay on. Lay their eggs on, I should say, not just lie about doing nothing. And this here is the remnant of a very, very old hawthorn. You can see it even growing back now. Unbelievable. And that must be a good 2 feet across at the bottom. So very, very old tree that was. Shame they lost that a few years ago. Yeah, longer grassy areas. They've just bought from the online shop some of this stuff, which is wild garlic ramsons, which they're hoping to establish in here, which they've been planting this spring. There's another one here as well, you can see. Wild garlic, very good plants. Every part of the plant is actually edible. Nice plant to have in a garden. Look at this, I don't think you get a mown path until you see that. Look at that. Gorgeous. It's been cut in between some of this red campion, which is a lovely colour. Look at that, that is just stunning. Red campion, a very good plant for shade and also a very good plant for butterflies and moths, I should say. Moths as equal a pollinator as butterflies. And then through here, I'm going to come this side of the sun. That's the table where I filmed one of my videos recently for those of you that view the channel regularly. So looking back through here, you can see there's some bluebells just going over now, a bit past their best, but still looking lovely, from the online shop, part of our spring bulbs in the green, and they're just trying to establish a bit more of a bluebell population through this area. So very nice to see. Oh, there's a white butterfly on the far side. Looks severe green vein white. As I say, things starting to warm up and come out, starting to fly now. Oh, there's two actually. What have we got? Come on, come this way. Two green vein whites. Look at that. Dancing for the camera. I'll take that. I'll plant a couple of larval food plants for you later. Right, now then, I love this. They've mown around. This was in the middle of where the path was going to be, or is. This is a little dainty cuckoo flower. Again, another larval food plant of the orange-tipped butterfly. Secondary larval food plant in these parts. Primary will be the garlic mustard. And there are a few bits of it dotted through this sort of damper section of the meadow. And up here we have the compost heap, looking rather nice. And I'm going to film you that hawthorn in a second when I get the other side of it. Lovely shrubby rose there going over this old fence. Look at that, how inviting is this section. Shall we take a wander? I think so. So, into what is possibly my favourite part of the garden. And to begin with, you've got these gorgeous disease-resistant elms. Obviously elms hit by the Dutch elm disease a few decades ago. And these are disease-resistant ones. We do have the white letter hair streak butterfly in this country, which does use them as a larval food plant. But if I walk through and then turn around, that hawthorn from here with the sun on it, look at that, just exquisite. And that sort of semi-shady woodland glade, you can see why it's so good for the speckled woods. Or as I as I misnamed them a few years ago, and sometimes now refer to them as Weckled spuds, which does make me chuckle from time to time. One of those green vein whites going off along the fence line over there. Right, let's take a wander. Now this area is split into two. I'm going to take the left-hand path in life, see where it leads. It does actually come back round in a bit of a loop, so we'll come and show you that in a little while. But before I do, I really should say about this cracking little plant, which looks like a very miniature form of cow parsley, but it's not. It's actually a plant called pignut, which does have, funnily enough, a little sort of nutty bulbous root to it. So it is a lovely plant, and the way to tell it apart from the bigger cousin of the cowslip, which there's plenty of over there, we'll go and look at in a moment, is the leaf. Now I really don't want to pick a leaf, but I'm going to just to show you because it's just a bit easier. The leaf almost looks like a bit of fennel. Very fine leaf, if you can make that out. And I'll show you the leaf of the cow parsley in a minute. The pignut is a larval food plant for a day flying moth called the chimney sweeper moth, which is a beautiful little moth, lovely chocolate brown colour with a little white edge to its wings. Full of useless information, me. Right, let's take a walk through the woodland. How inviting is this? So again, lots of woodland semi-shade loving plants in here. We've got some ox-eye daisy, which is a bit behind. Mine have just started flowering in my front garden. We've got more hedge bed straw. We've got some vetch, that's probably common vetch. And we've got lesser knapweed, these bigger clumps. Knapweed, a really good one for semi-shade. More brash piles, more log piles, and more thumbs up from me. Look at that bit of deadwood. That's nice. Looks like a dead blackthorn, or potentially a dead plum tree of some sort. But it's actually protecting now. If I have a wander over here, this lovely oak tree, which they're leaving deliberately, of course. Gorgeous tree, and that will nicely fill the canopy at some point, or fill the gap in the canopy, should I say. You see more of that hedge laying, and more logs all the way down there. And look at this cow parsley now. Well, it's nice to see that stand of hazel was left, as was that one. It's a very conscientious hedge layer. Nice to see. And right beside me here, this is a bit of a grove of lesser knapweed, so this is going to be a purple riot in a few weeks. So we get towards June, the middle of June in particular, and into July, that's when it really comes into its own. More nettles left. Perfect. Semi-dappled shade. Should get a few butterflies on. I appreciate nettles, not everybody wants to have patches and patches and patches of them, but when you've got a garden of this size or a piece of land of this size, you know, it's best to have a variety of habitats. Almost a mosaic, you might say. I will get it to click eventually with everybody and resonate, and hopefully take off. There we go. There's another hoverfly, if you saw that, just enjoying this cow parsley in the morning sun. Isn't that a beauty? You might think that was a wasp, but it's not. No doubt part of the evolution of this insect to look a little bit like a predator, so it's less likely to be bothered or eaten or attacked. But whether it works or not, or whether other insects have got used to it looking like that now, who knows? Look at this though, just an absolute sea of cow parsley. Really gorgeous. The scent through here, I wish you all watching this could smell this. These mown pathways, just idyllic. What have we got there? Oh, that might just be a little mint moth. That's not. Lost it. I'm pretty sure that was a mint moth. It's nice to see. Again, more brash piles. I think that hoverfly just tried to come and land on my face, but decided better of it. Don't blame him. Brash piles, great for nesting birds as well this time of year. Don't move any. You might have wrens, blackbirds, dunnocks, all sorts of birds might be using that. They're not, as I've checked, but just saying, you might have some in your garden that are being used, so bear it in mind. And look at these two fastigiate, so copper beech trees, aren't they just delectable? Gorgeous colours at the moment with the morning light. Oh, and I went straight past this ginkgo, which is a tree they planted in here. Ginkgo has a very distinctive leaf, if I can show you this. Fantastic tree, the ginkgo. The ginkgo is the oldest tree in the world, not this one in particular, but as a species, the ginkgo has been around for 380 million years. What a wonderful tree. That will turn into one day. Here we go. Look. No, it's gone. Another little solitary bee enjoying the cow parsley. So I hope that you start to see cow parsley as a bit more of just a bog standard white plant along the edge of a woodland or along the side of a road. It really is quite stunning. Equally stunning is this crabapple, which is in full flower now. Some of the blossom just dropping. Keeps frustratingly make me think that it's a butterfly dropping down through the canopy. But I'm going to walk a bit further this way and I'm going to turn around to show you. There you go, see? Blossom dropping. So frustrating this time of year. I just think everything is a butterfly. Whether it's a bit of blossom dropping or whether it's a feather blowing through the air. Traumatic time of year for me, this is. Look at that. Wonderful plant. Tree. Don't think that's quite a true native because the flowers look a little bit bigger than usual, but still providing a lot of pollen and nectar for a lot of insects nonetheless, and a very, very beautiful tree. And you know, I would reiterate that I think we should try our very best to not get hung up on native versus non-native. If it's good for wildlife, it gets my approval, that's for sure. Then look at this. That entire screen-filling shot is one of the oldest cherry trees in Hertfordshire, a remnant or a relic of the population of orchards that unfortunately have nowadays all but gone throughout Hertfordshire due to human expansion and clattering of some wood pigeons, leaving one of the hazels next to it. But that is a very, very old tree. It's well over 100 years old, and it's a good, best part of 3 feet across at the bottom. So a very nice addition to this beautiful woodland landscape, as you can see. Right, let's carry on around this way. Hope you guys are enjoying this, by the way. If you are, then do give it a thumbs up. Hit that little like button, it costs nothing. Hit the subscribe button as well, then you will no doubt get my videos come recommended on your feed more often, where I like to try and create an eclectic mix of wildlife based videos on how you can create different habitats for wildlife, some of the projects I'm making, and just a nice mix. I think that's what I like to try and create with the channel, because I think it's nice to give people lots of options. There's over 300 videos now, and lots of tours as well. For those of you that have been watching some of the recent tours, my garden tour of my front 20 square metre wildlife garden, plus the epic tour that I've just published, which was one of the nearly 3 hour long tours that was of, hang on, early bumblebee on red campion. Just almost got it. Yes, the epic nearly 3 hour tour of the grounds where I stayed for my honeymoon last year, of just some amazing habitats. So do check that video out at the end of this one if you've got time, and if you haven't, then try it over a couple of nights. Anyway, I want to show you probably the best, or one of the best patches of red campion in this garden. So look at that. I mean, the red campion in with the cow parsley, just like a bouquet, isn't it? It's like it's been hand-picked by an expert florist, dotted with the blue of the forget-me-nots in the middle. I did tell you red campion was good for shade. What I love about red campion as well, which I have done a full video on, so do go and check that out on the channel as well, is you get these kind of different colour tones, you know, so you get these very pale flowers, which are really pale pink, and you get some like this one, which is almost cerise, which is just delightful. And you do get a separate plant which is called white campion, which is similar, but just what a wonderful little spot. And to just hear the sound of the birds and the occasional strimmer, not in this garden. This is a red oak from the States, for you guys in the States. It's not doing too well here at the moment. What a nice one to see. There goes another green vein white along the hedgerow. There's another oak tree, this one. A blackbird serenading me in the background. Oh, and there is, in the hedge line, don't know if you saw that, that's the first, what I think is a young robin. It is. It's a family of robins. Try and zoom in for you. If you can hear that sort of high-pitched piping call. Let's go and have a look, shall we? See if we can not disturb them, but show you a bit more. I thought there'd been a robin that's been very busy in here the last few days. It's sort of gone into the bushes at the back there, which is beyond our limits. That's into neighbouring land, but lovely to see. Anyway, it does lead me nicely onto this patch here, which is currently alive with insects. We've got common carder bee there, ginger beauty. No, I'm not referring to myself. Yes, so in here we have a bit of an eclectic mix, bit of cow parsley, bit of red campion, but also this lovely green alkanet, or alkanet some people call it. You can see the flower of which is beautiful. This deep blue colour. A bit like a giant forget-me-not flower in a way, which a lot of insects will use. Looking back through there up at the two oaks. And next to me I've got one of the best trees in the world, hawthorn. Look at that, for an abundance of nectar and pollen. I'm going to give it a sniff, hang on. Oh, yes, the smell of May, that is. May blossom it's known as well. Obviously berries are invaluable for birds in the autumn. Just goes to show why you should leave your hedgerows as well, manage them on a rotation, because otherwise you don't get the benefit of this. If you cut your hedge every time, or every summer, or every spring, or every autumn. Wowzers. I think I need to go and get my earmuffs out of the van for that wren. It's ridiculously loud. Another beautiful Betula utilis, the Jack Montii, white form of the birch, and over here we have some more old ash trees, a ridiculously loud wren, and a very nice stand of holly. Really old tree. And this perfect bit of scrubland behind, which I have heard a blackcap calling from. That robin has just gone up to a branch above me. Probably going to fly, but you can probably see it flitting about, feeding its young. How lovely to see, and what a great bit of cover and habitat to have at the bottom of your garden. With that beautiful fir tree. Got a very nice larch tree as well there, and right up there, the keen-eyed of you, just there, got a buzzard going over. A lot of red kites around here as well. So a lovely area. And that wren no doubt nesting low down in some of the brash piles, some of the scruffy habitat around the margins of this garden. So perfect. More rotting logs down here. Robin singing away. Lovely. So yes, here's that hawthorn. Again, quintessential part of a wildlife garden, hawthorn, if you ask me. A little bit of blackthorn growing up alongside it, that right hand stem, which is a slightly earlier blossom, very good for pollinating insects, including early emerging butterflies. Oh, and here's something I've not seen for a while. A good old earwig. The camera to focus. There you go. Look at that. Brilliant insect. One that does have a bit of a pincer on its tail, as you just saw. Everybody needs a utility heap, a grass heap. Obviously great spot for slow worms, grass snakes, many an invertebrate. So I strongly recommend piles of rubbish in your garden. You are allowed some formality, don't get me wrong, but just not much. No, I'm kidding. I think a garden should be an eclectic mix. A garden should be a mix of habitats, a mosaic of habitats, something that's got formal, long grass, short grass, and this is another topic that I've covered recently in a video about how to manage your longer grassy areas. So go and check that out. Different techniques, different methods to create a mix of habitats. The most diversity is going to be attracted if you've got a mix. So adopt that principle and you won't go far wrong. So now we're heading back through the woodland. We've done a bit of a loop, we're heading back down. And there is the very easily identifiable call of a chiffchaff. A bit further down the garden, but that apple, just look at that, crab apple. Gorgeous. Here's another old hawthorn, very old hawthorn tree. This one here. So now I'm going to shut up. I'm just going to take a steady walk back for another minute or two through this woodland so you can hear the calls. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this garden tour of this beautiful 1 acre wildlife garden here in Hertfordshire. Obviously check out the garden tours playlist if this is your thing, and if you want to see more of these sorts of gardens, then I have done many more garden tours on the channel, including my own little front garden wildlife tour and my own back garden, so go and have a look at those. But thank you so much for watching. All I would say is if you have enjoyed the video, then do feel free to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'll be bringing you more videos like this and lots more videos on all the ways in which you can help wildlife in videos to come. And thank you, as always, so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned. See you all soon.